What's going on, y'all? It's your man Soge Kami talking about One Piece 1096 called Kumachi. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know you're live in the comments down below. Alright, going through this chapter, we're going to talk about all the parts that really stood out to me. This chapter was fire. I love this chapter so much. You know, it's a Kuma chapter, but we still got like little tidbits of the God Valley incident. Oda is just drip feeding us the stuff that we want to see, and we are waiting for it. I'm living for this type of thing. I'm actually not too upset that we didn't get to see things like Rox's face yet. It gives me something to look forward to, a little more speculation and stuff like that, and it keeps the focus on Kuma, which this chapter should be. And yeah, so we're looking forward to what we're going to get next from Kuma and learning more about the God Valley incident, exactly what happened and exactly what they're looking for. So let's start the chapter at the top. I'm just going to be talking about the things that I really enjoyed from this chapter, and let's get started. So it starts with Garp speaking to Kong, and he mentions that the Celestial Dragons are getting what they deserve for stealing from Full Lead Island. What they stole, we don't know. It's not mentioned what they stole. I think it could be an ancient weapon possibly, but it wasn't until Kong mentions to Roger that Garp was arriving on God's Valley that Garp definitely like stood up and was, I gotta go in there. I gotta stop Roger. So that's definitely interesting. It gave a lot of Smoker Straw Hat vibes for me. You know how Smoker always tries to move when he sees Luffy moving. So a lot of connection there. So as the hunt begins, we see Garland speak to some people. He calls them pests, and he says for them to sit back and watch. Some people say that the people he's speaking to are the kids from Sheep Hearts. That's Big Mom's flashback. The family name that they call themselves is Man Mayer. This could be related to the country called Myanmar, which was formerly known as Burma. So as this country changed from their old ways to their new, the kids could have also changed from their old lives as humans to celestial dragons, you know, becoming God's Knights. And that, to me, that could be kind of hinting at what the God's Knights are. Like there could be orphans who end up becoming God's Knights by going through the CP's Cypher Pole ladder and, you know, becoming so impressive in CP0 that they get elevated to God's Knights. So it's kind of like the last level before you get to the highest peak. So that could end up being like the goal for what Cypher Pole agents are, to become celestial dragons. And then, you know, we see some of the images, and, you know, one of them does look like the kid from Sheep's House. And then we also see a girl who uses a gun. To me, that gives off Usopp opponent vibes, because we know that Usopp fights girls and he fights people with weapons. So in this chapter, we see that Ivankov's such a beacon. Now that we know his backstory, we can see how he became a person of the people and why Bon Clay had so much admiration for him. He rallied the slaves and focused on freeing themselves, knowing that the Celestial Dragons would not keep their word. You know, the Celestial Dragons were always going to turn on them and not let them survive, even if they survived for 3 weeks. So Ivankov is definitely someone special to me in this chapter. He really stood out. So Garland, see riding a bird, a little unexpected but cool, and this fight is shown to the Holy Land, implying that they were able to see the whole God Valley incident. So, you know, it was recorded at least. Ginny calls out to the world, telling pirates about the prizes on God Valley and that the Celestial Dragons are there. Ginny mentions to the slaves that she's a thief and a techie. They go over how the tournament has 2 devil fruit prizes that would help them, those devil fruits being the fish and the pawpaw fruits. She also knows how they work, surprisingly. The plan is to wait for the pirates to arrive and then use them as a distraction to steal the fruits and then escape. Ginny is proving to be very cunning, as she essentially instigated the whole God Valley incident. So that is crazy to me. I think that, you know, Ginny is like, I don't know, really smart. Later on, she says that she's like 4 years older than Kuma, so it makes her only 13 years old, so that's very interesting. Kuma volunteers as Chad's self, and so Ivankov and Kuma are determined to save all the slaves, just them two. I love how they both value living, even though their lives have been told to be worthless as slaves. And just seeing these two characters together, I just never thought we'd see a flashback with these two, and it's just lovely. Like, Oda really knew how to put these two characters in a place where we just, you know, we just have so much feelings for them after seeing them for so long. And so just seeing a flashback with these two characters as kids is just surprising, and like I didn't even know that that's what I wanted. We see Rox and his crew arrive first and overcome the blockade set up by the Marines. We see young versions of the Rox pirates, so that's Whitebeard, Shiki, Big Mom, Gloriosa, Stussy, Kaido, Captain John, Wang Ji, and Silver Axe. Gloriosa and Stussy seem to both have some type of argument with each other, and, you know, we see Stussy on Whitebeard's back, and Gloriosa said she loved a pirate, so that could be over Whitebeard in general. You know, Stussy has some type of thing for Whitebeard, so we know we need to get this fleshed out a bit. We have to assume that this is the original Miss Buckingham, but this can also go on to show how Miss Buckingham Stussy got Whitebeard's DNA to make a clone for Whitebeard Jr. I think all of this is interesting, and Oda's just really filling up his bag right now with all the groceries to cook up something delicious. So, we have something more stuff that we want to see just about Whitebeard. Whitebeard's been dead for over 10 years in real life, and he's still able to, have our attention just with his manner on the page. It was interesting to see Gloriosa as well, as I thought Shaki was one of the Rocks pirates, and I'm surprised we didn't see her at all in this chapter. Maybe Shaki was the first mate of Gloriosa's ship, but we know Shaki and Rayleigh had a thing, and Rayleigh, it said that, they were both pirates on different ships, so it was always assumed that Shaki was on Rox's ship, so I'm just surprised not to see her there. Gloriosa, though, that's crazy. Because Whitebeard knows the power or importance of whatever took him Fullhead Island, he's very focused on getting it back, and that whatever power it was could be the reason why he ends up abandoning Rox by the end of it. And we see Kaido. Kaido seems to want to fight Roger. This could lead to him being mortally injured by Roger, and why Kaido had such a big admiration of him, and also would lead into how Big Mom uses the Devil Fruit, the Azure Dragon Devil Fruit, to make Kaido, save his life, give him some power, and then he has that lifelong debt with her. I'm sure we'll see this in later chapters, as it's kind of hinted at. So, just by not showing that information at this point, we know that this information will come at a later point during another flashback of some type. We also see Stussy, Captain John. Captain John looks really cool. I like his design a lot. And Gloriosa, they're all ready for battle. And then we see two other silhouettes. I assume they're Silver Axe and Wang Ji. I also want to mention that Wang Ji is a little silhouetted, so I feel like at some point he will come back into the story. Could Wang Ji be the man marked by flames? Who knows? Next, we see Roger, Rayleigh, Scopper, and the rest of the Roger's pirates arrive. Roger's reason for coming is never mentioned, except for that it's been a year since he reached Lodestar, and he's been waiting and he's been wanting to squab. My headcanon is whatever the Celestial Dragon stole from Fullhead, Roger and Rox fought over it a year prior at Lodestar, and Garp just doesn't want Roger to have it. So that, it could be a thing. We see the God Knights rally, and we see a woman beside Garling and a tall guy behind him. The woman's design is really cool. She looks really cute. She kind of looks like Baby 5 to me, but either way, that's what we see. And then last people to arrive is Garp and his Marines. We also see Bogard, and they're rounding out all the parties. So we see Rox, Rogers, God Knights, Garp Marines, and then the slaves. The slaves sneak at the Devil Fruits out of the middle of the island amidst the chaos, and as Kuma and Eva are about to eat the Devil Fruits, Big Mom stops Eva from eating the Dragon Fruit. I assume the other chests didn't have Devil Fruits in them, since they're able to snag both Devil Fruits really quickly. And we saw 6 chests, so those other chests could have had other, lesser important prizes. Eva implores Kuma to just eat it, while, Big Mom stole the Devil Fruit from Eva himself. Right after Kuma eats the pawpaw fruit, Saturn attacks Kuma and tries to gaslight him into accepting his destiny. Kuma starts spitting about how everyone is valuable and how he will save everyone he can, just like Nika does, and Saturn says that's why he must be erased, and it cuts away. The incident ends with a confrontation between Rox and Roger, and we know we will see more of this in the future. So next we arrive in South Blue and are informed that only Garp's heroism is reported, and it also kind of tells us that, 38 years ago, Morgan still owned the paper. Kuma prays for those not saved. Eva cheers him up and says he saved 500 slaves and calls his Devil Fruit the Hands of Liberation. I love that title and hope a Straw Hat can get that fruit if something were to happen to Kuma, to keep the Hands of Liberation thing going to match with, the Warrior of Liberation. I just think that sounds so cool. Eva is off to sea to become free. Kuma says he will never forget his face, which is a little sad, since he didn't recognize him in Marineford. Ginny stays as Kuma because, she seemed to admire him throughout, his grit, determination, and then together they rebuild the Sorpei Kingdom. The chapter ends with Kuma and Ginny eating dinner until they are full. Kuma calls Ginny a glutton, which is Bonnie's nickname. They reminisce about becoming slaves at only 4 years old and bask in the newfound happiness together. I love the dynamic because as Kuma's so gentle, Ginny admires that and doesn't allow the other kids to pick on him. There's showed a panel of some kids throwing rocks at him, and then Ginny beats them up, and then Kuma actually heals them, and then I guess he gets their admiration too. The chapter shows us the joy in Kuma's life before it gets stripped from him. I hope Ginny passes away after giving birth to Bonnie, because we know Jenny's not making it, and Bonnie uses the glutton name as an homage to her mother. But because this is a flashback, we know tragedy is on the horizon. There's a good chance Bonnie is a clone of Ginny, and we still And we still have to see how Kuma meets Dragon and Vegapunk. So that's what I expect to happen in the next chapter. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen in the next chapter. I really did love this chapter so much. I went through this really quickly. Just a lot of ideas. I didn't even mention the fact that Blackbeard had attacked so many different people who we see on the Rocks Pirates. I don't know. I think that this chapter was pretty amazing, and I just love the way that Oda gave us information, and he still sprinkled more information for us to wonder about things coming in the future. He just didn't blast all the information at once, and once we get a little more information about what happened, he'll end up just telling us more things about the future to look forward to. And I really think that up until the last chapter of One Piece, we will basically have more things to get hype about, more flashbacks, more information to just kind of digest and understand of the story. So One Piece is just in a fantastic place right now. No break next week, coming at you live 1097. Let me know what you guys thought about in the chapter down in the comment section below. Like the video and please subscribe. Thank you so much, and this is Sogekami out.